Hey, what's going on? This is Mel, episode 130. Yes, 130 episode. Um, today I would today I want to share with you, one of the reasons, the main reasons why I bought the Apple Watch, right? And the I waited till Series 5 before I took the plunge. And the reason why I bought the Apple Watch, and more specifically, the reason why I only went for the Nike version was simply this. I wanted to have a more systematic way to track my physical fitness because as I am with each year going by, what I really want to do is I want to make sure that I am in good shape and that I have the necessary energy to be able to do what I want to do. And so some of the things that I got really jealously are like things like, for example, my sleep as well as my run. So what I really wanted to do was to make sure that I have a good run, and I'm able to document everything. And so there is this app that I use, which is called the Nike Run Club. So for those of you who are also on Nike Run Club, do send me an invite so that we can kind of run together. And if for whatever reasons you are using any other app for running and you find that it's totally awesome, let me know. Right? Previously, I used to use the Adidas coaching app. I think it was really, really good, but I kind of like the idea of using the Nike Run app a lot more. Simply because I'm a big fan of Nike. I wear their shoes. I love their shoes. I bought the Nike version of the Apple Watch, and of course, it will be just strange to be running with the Adidas app. So coming back to this is that recently what happened was I find out that although I was running, I was actually putting on weight. And that's a little bit of a concern. And when I studied deeper into the reason why this is happening, of course, there's a very simple way of explaining that it's input versus output. So, of course, the amount of things that I eat, if I'm going to put in more into my body, much more than I actually expand out, then obviously, it's not going to do the work for me, right? I mean, it's not going to work for me. So input and output is one thing. The other thing was that our body, it's incredibly intelligent. And when I say incredibly intelligent, it's because it understands what you're doing. And then because it wants to be able to protect you and to make it optimal for you, it over time it kind of learn certain ways of adjusting to it. So for example, if you have not been running regularly and you start running regularly for a period of time, you would, of course, all things being equal, you would actually start to see that you will lose weight. However, if you continue with that run itself in terms of distance, in terms of duration, if you continue with that over a longer period of time and all things being equal, very soon you will not lose so much weight as you would compared to when you first started. And the reason that is so is because your body becomes intelligent enough to be able to withhold sufficient energy so that it will be expended during the run itself. Whereas previously, the body isn't aware that you are going to be expending this much of energy. And so when you run, it actually burns off. And so our body becomes a little bit more attuned and we become more efficient when it comes to the running itself. So, of course, it's not going to be an issue if you have kind of reached your optimal weight and you are just running to maintain, and yet you're also watching what you eat. If that is the case, then you are well and good. But for mine, for my case, especially during the circuit breaker itself, we weren't going outdoors much, and after a while, I stopped running because I was a bit concerned about running without the mask and passing by people. And many people were using that excuse of exercising to get out of their house. And so, in addition to that, because I mean, we were indoors almost all the time. And as a result of that, I started eating a little bit more. And so that kind of builds up to me, driving me nuts. But today you'll be making fun of me about my big tummy, and they're just giving me a hard time. So that aside, I also want to make sure that I lose weight, not for vanity reason, but for health reason. And so in the last couple of weeks, I've started running a lot more seriously and a lot more consistently. And so in the past, I used to clock in like between 3 to 4 kilometers. In the last couple of weeks, I've been clocked in something like 5 to 6 kilometers a day. And within a week itself, sometimes I can clock up to 15 to 20 kilometers a week. That's pretty much, I mean, that's quite a bit and a huge difference compared to previously. Um, and so one of the key things that kind of kept me going, because believe you me, although I run a lot, I'm actually not a big fan of running. And so what I mean by that is that, I would always to give myself reasons not to run, especially in the morning, right? I would give myself all sorts of reasons why I shouldn't be running. It's cold, it's raining, it's you can do it later. You did your run yesterday. It's too close to your last run. I will give myself all sorts of excuses. And 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 sometimes I would actually give in to those excuses itself, and not make the run. But in the last couple of weeks, I have been very consistent and, in fact, very adamant about getting the run in. And one of the reasons behind that was I discovered there are what they call guided runs. So there are run whereby it will track you as you run, and it just announces like 1 km done, how many minutes per km, and your pace and how far you've run. They have that function, so that's like the basic function. And then now they have, because of the app itself, they have the ability to introduce guided runs. So in other words, you can start off with your first run, which is like a 20 minutes run, and then you can continue with the second run, which is a 22 minutes run, and then you kind of progress from there. And I find that to be really, really useful because running can really be a very boring sport, but I like it because not because I'm boring, but because I like the fact that I can get it over and done with, and I wouldn't need a partner, or I wouldn't need someone else, and I can do it any time of the day. Um, at least here in Singapore, right? I mean, I've gone for a run like at 1 a.m. in the morning. I've gone for a run like 4:30 a.m. in the morning. So, it's pretty much safe here to run any time of the day, um, as long as your body can take it. But what happened now is that I am beginning to start to get this consistent run in. And the reason why I got this consistent run in very much is because of the app. And the feature that the app provides is this guided runs. And on this guided run itself, they have a coach who would actually talk you through as you're doing the run. And so here's a shout out to Coach Bennett of the Nike Running Global Head Coach. Right, he's done a phenomenal job being a head coach, because I must tell you, I am hooked on the runs. And in fact, I would deliberately go out for a run just because I want to listen to what he has to say. And so, it's funny because as I listen to him coaching and talking about running, I get all excited and all that. Then I noticed something. He has this phrase that he would always use, one of which is every run has a purpose. So sometimes during the run itself, he would come on and he will ask you some questions. And one of the questions that he would love to ask you, how the other question that he loves to ask you would be, why are you running? And that's where he goes on and says that every run has a purpose. And if you think about it, it is true, because if I'm running, but I have no purpose for the run, whether the purpose of the run is because I'm feeling fatigue. And so I want to gain energy. So instead of going to take a nap, I go for a run. Or I may be totally stressed out, during the course of the day. And what I want to do is to give my body a different kind of stress by going for a run. Or I have just got into a fight with my wife, and I needed just to get away and to vent off the anger, and so I go for a run. So, the many reasons why anyone would want to go for a run, and every run would have a purpose. Every run has a reason behind that. And quite often, if you do not have a purpose, then obviously what's going to happen, it's you are going to be easily swayed by other distractions. And instead of doing the run, you may do something else. And that leads me to today's topic itself. I apologize, the preamble is a bit long, but I need to set the context for you. So that brings me to today's topic itself. And today's topic is about, to paraphrase Coach Bennett, um, every every video has a purpose. So I get people who ask me questions like this almost all the time. Why are you making all these videos? Why? Some of them even say things like, I mean, if you have gone to my YouTube channel, you would see me and Gary Vaynerchuk in the same video on my show, right? And I have even people coming up to me and asking me like, "Yeah, it's great that you have this video with Gary V, and then what? How do you make money from there?" And I have people who say that, well, you have been doing all these videos, but you're not getting much traction. So what's the point? And here's where I want to answer that question here today. Now, there are various reasons why make a video. Number one, it's because until and unless you put yourself out there and you are willing to put yourself out there, until unless you do that, no one's going to give you the opportunity. I mean, if you're going to be waiting for someone to invite you, it's probably not going to happen. And so you have to give yourself that permission to put yourself out there and showcase your talents and showcase how you can help someone else solve their problem. The second thing that you really need to think about why you should be doing certain thing is that, what does an artist do? An artist paint. What does a writer do? A writer writes. What does a composer do? A composer composes. So whatever form of art that you choose, it is something, I believe, it is something that you have to do it every day. Now, of course, you will have people who say that, well, it's not about the quantity, it's the quality. Yes, I agree. But in order to get to the quality, I believe you have to pay your dues. You have to do the quantity. I mean, if you go back to episode one of this series of videos, you would have seen the improvements in terms of the presentation, in terms of the setting, in terms of the lighting, in terms of the camera, in terms of the audio, in terms of the everything. You would have seen an improvement. And I would say without that 129 videos prior to this, I wouldn't be able to do this, what I'm doing now, right? I mean, unless I have been trained in broadcasting, for example, otherwise, it's something that I would have to learn. And unless you learn it, or unless you have someone who is willing to teach you, it's all up to you. And so the other reason for why I am putting out all, and so what do I do? Do I make one video every week and wait for 2 years before I get to that 100 video? Or do I do it every day so that I could get to that 100 faster? And of course, with that mindset of, with every show that I put out, I want this show to be better than the last one. Of course, that may not always happen, but that is the intent and that is the focus of what I'm doing. So, number one, it's really about putting in the work. If you are serious about your art form, you would do it every day. I mean, a world class ballerina swim only when he or she feels like it. A world class live streamer isn't going to broadcast only when it is convenient. They do it every day. And so doing it every day is one thing. The other thing is, only by doing it do you improve. So people like to say practice makes perfect. Now, I disagree with that, because unless the practice is deliberate practice, it's practice that you focus, it's practice that you pay attention to, and you rewatch the videos or you review your work and you say, what aspect of it can I make it better? And like me, I mean, even up to 100 over episodes, I was still screwing up the audio, right? But what I want to do is to make sure that I'm able to to find a solution to this, because what's happened now is that I've gone through all that series of experimentation. And if you would come to me, I would be able to tell you exactly what to do based on your budget. Now, how did I get there? It wasn't because I attended a course, but it's because of my commitment to this art form and my willingness to experiment and invest and, buying all this equipment out of my own investment, that I'm able to tell you that, oh, you should do this or you should do that. You should get this or you should get that. If you want this effect, then you should do this based on your budget. And all that said and done, I think the third purpose, every time I do a video, it's the most crucial one, because I can focus on purpose number one and purpose number two, and I'll be good, but I'm not going to get far. So, in order for me to get far, the third purpose is the most crucial one ever. And the crucial factor is, what is the purpose of this video? Now, the purpose of this video, it's basically this. It is created with you in mind. You, that talented person, that person with the experience, the expertise, the skills, the knowledge to be able to solve the world's problems. You. And this video, it's for you. Every video, it's for you, because each video, it's looking at one aspect of it, one small aspect of it, that one thing that you can do that's going to make a difference in terms of your earning capacity, will make a difference in terms of your professionalism. And that is the purpose of every video. Now, question is, have I achieved that purpose with every video? I think it could have been better. But that said, without that purpose in mind, I would have fared worse. And it doesn't matter if my setup is so slick and so nice. It doesn't matter if I am so polished in terms of my speech. All that doesn't matter, because if I'm just focusing on that, then the purpose is just about me. But because the purpose of every video is about you, how I am able to share with you what I have been doing in building that 1%, 1 million, all digital business. And that's why every video has a purpose. And of course, that was shamelessly paraphrased from Coach Bennett when he says, every run has a purpose. And so there were times where I would give myself excuses and say that maybe I should not do a live show today. I mean, anyway, no one's watching. But yet, I've been showing up every day for the last 130 days. And with that, my friends, remember, this video is for you. And so, if this video has motivated you, please give me a thumbs up. please like the video. And if you want more of such content, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.